All right.
All right, caught me off guard there.
Yeah, I see that you haven't even given StreamYard permission to use your name.
Oh, through Facebook. Well, I'm
Yeah,
not really.
they'll see it on there though. So
Yeah. Oh, when I made that comment, is that what you're talking about just now?
yeah, on the comment you put in there, it came through as a Facebook user.
Okay. At my end, it looked like it was me. So.
Oh yeah, we'll say it on Facebook. It'll show you, but in the stream on my side here, it doesn't. You might have your speakers still on or something, because I can hear my voice kind of echoing a little bit behind you.
How about now?
1, 2, 3. A little bit, but it's not bad. It's not terrible. Very faint.
John, it's the cavernous space inside your brain between your two ears. That's all you're hearing. Voices, and not to mention the aliens. So
The aliens now.
yeah, the alien voices. You know, you got to put your tin hat on. That way they deflect. So we're hoping to get Warren in here for 10 minutes. Warren Noyce, and see if we can get some commentary on what is going on in his life. He may or may not show up. I'm not sure. He's very, very busy. I don't know if you saw his post. John, did you see it the other day?
No, you were telling me about it, but I saw one post of his, but I didn't see. I don't know if it's the one you were talking about or not.
So I got some stuff I could share with everybody, but just so everybody's updated on what is going on with Warren, he posted about 6 weeks ago that he's moving out of where he has established his studio. Him and Paula have a very, very, very thriving photography business, and they're just closing. They're leaving, moving 5 hours away. They got a new opportunity to get into an exterior.
I don't think she's closing completely. He is, but I think she's going to continue doing the babies in that family's.
They're closing in North Battleford.
In North Battleford, yes.
And she's going to be doing babies, but she's also got a full-time job in their new town. So
Yeah.
no, I think Warren's always going to be shooting. But anyways, I wanted to, it's kind of a sad story in a sense. But knowing Warren, and I'm not saying sad and that it's a sad thing in a bad sense, because these things, you look at them 5 years from now, you look back and you go, well, that was pretty good. Everything worked out really well, and cool new things happen because once you connect the dots, once you're down the road. But at the time, you're sort of like going, oh man, that looks like it's such a struggle because of COVID and everything else is what did him in. And many other photographers are struggling with the same situation. And I know you've been locked down for many, 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 many months.
Yeah,
I don't know.
we've struggled a bit.
Yeah. And, we're in a fortunate situation. We don't have a lot of debts and we have some money in the bank. And what bothered me the most about lockdown is just being told I can't work. I mean, that drove me nuts.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go get another job or do anything else, start another business. Came close because, what if I do? And then, oh, shit, everything's opened up again. And I don't want to give it up because it's pretty good.
This is what I do. Yeah, this is what I do.
Yeah, we just did another ferry shoot down in London, Ontario. It was a huge success, and we got 2 more lined up for this fall coming up. And every time I do a ferry shoot, I'm just always reminding myself of how my thing with photography is, I believe it's my thing anyways, how much I enjoy working with children. So what do you enjoy the most about the whole thing, about in general?
In general photography, I'm a shooter guy. I'm not a very big fan of sitting on the computer. So, I love my editing. Don't get me wrong. I love it. It's fun. You can be creative, but I love to be in there shooting, and I like doing like my corporate stuff, the headshots, and
You're a people person.
Corporates, yes, very much so.
Gotcha.
And then for the children, I'm not big anymore on doing like babies or young children per se. I don't mind doing them, but I'm more doing the sports, like going and doing Petawawa hockey or doing the Santa pictures at the one mall, that kind of stuff.
You love working high volume and or with kids and or with large groups of kids and doing group settings. That's right up your alley?
When it comes to kids, yes. But when it comes to just normal photography, I would prefer if I could just do my headshots and my pinups and my beauty and fashion and artistic type stuff. Yeah.
Normal.
Yeah.
But you're not normal, though.
That's true, too. Never said I was.
So I get it. All right. So while we're waiting for Warren to show up, if he shows up, just to give us an update, if and when he does. I called him yesterday. I called him just out of the blue because I saw his post from 2 days ago, and I said, "You are a beast, man. You guys are amazing, and I wish you guys luck. We're thinking about you, and I hope it all works out for you because he's going through some crazy stuff, the amount of work that he's got to do to move on to his new phase in life." So we'll wait for that. But I got some stuff I could share. Well, why don't we talk about what we talked about the other day when I gave you a call there, Johnny? We talked about the Peter Hurley thing. You said you posted an image for review. I think that would be an interesting topic. We'll talk about headshots and some of my challenges with headshots, and we'll weave in the Hurleyisms.
Yeah. And I can show you I'll bring it up in a second. I'll have to go find it, but I'll bring up my picture that he sort of tore me a new one a little bit, in a nice way. In a nice way.
Well, Hurley doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who could ever, he doesn't have a mean bone in his body.
No.
But he'll call it straight up and say it the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to have a really good blend of those characteristics, which is something we all appreciate, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So I was telling you that I joined the headshot crew because you can teach an old dog new tricks, and there's a lot for me to learn there.
Mm-hmm.
I've done a lot of classes online and in person, and I've seen a lot of photographers do presentations because of this. I'm doing a lot of this. And there's not a lot other than some inspiration and new marketing tactics that I have learned, or have been exposed to. However, with Peter Hurley, and the thing I talk about is how he has that rapport with his clients, which is like being a movie director. I'm like, ooh, that's really, really big for me. So, and I've been ramping up my headshot photo sessions in my studio using the stuff that I've been learning from Hurley. My big struggle nowadays is with the lighting. So, and we'll talk about that in a minute because you brought up something that I thought was really, really key. We'll bring that up too, but let me know when you find the image there, and we'll.
I found it. I can share it anytime you want.
All right, let's go for it.
All right, so I'll just go share my screen, and I want. Which one is it that I want? Let me just make sure I'm bringing up the right proper one. Okay, so I know which one it is. Okay, so I want. I believe it's this one. There. I don't know if you can see it or not.
There it is.
So that was the one that I entered into the photograph or the headshot of the month that he does every month.
When did you shoot this one?
This one was shot about, I want to say about two and a half weeks ago, maybe.
Pretty recent then. So.
Yeah, pretty recent. It was shot basically the week before the end of the contest. So it was like I want to say it was like the third week of August maybe, and the contest, you had to have it in by the 31st. So I probably shot this around the 23rd, 24th, something like that.
Cool. So what did they say about it?
Well, see, what I was trying to do was almost like his parallel lighting, as he calls it.
Yeah.
Where, if anybody knows that, you have the two soft boxes, strip banks, basically side by side, facing each other almost.
Right.
And then he has the kicker light coming on. You don't always have to use a kicker, but I did. The difference was, and when I told him I was using parallel, he goes, "Well, it's not really parallel," and I agreed with him because on the parallel, both lights are the exact same intensity, so there would be no shadowing basically on the front of the face. Whereas mine, I turned the one to the right of the camera or left of the model. You could say I turned it down to more like a fill. So I turned it down to like, I don't know what it was, maybe 2 stops less. I can't remember. I just turned down until it looked good. And so if you look in the catch lights, I don't think it'll let me zoom in on this program, but there's a little square catch light there or a rectangle, but there's another one on this side, but it's very faint because it was turned down more.
So you have 2 lights. Parallel lighting, but one's weaker than the other.
One's weaker than the other to give more of a fill instead of even light. And then from the back on this side here, if you can see my curve, I've got a kicker coming in.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
To add here. So the one thing he told me was I have to get him to stand up a little bit more. So pretend there's right here on the top of his head, there's a hook with a string on it, and somebody's at the top and they're pulling him up.
All right.
Because if I would have did that, it would have got rid of this little jowl here and probably a little bit more of the jowls here.
Right.
It would have. It looks like it's stuck right into his shirt, so it would have pulled him out of the shirt a little bit more. So that was one thing he told me. And because of the jowls, he said you don't want that kicker to be as bright as it is, even though it's not too bright or overpowering.
Okay.
It emphasizes that little jowl there a little bit more.
Nice.
So either turn it off or turn it down or turn his face a little bit more. So maybe it was just on here and not on the cheek part.
Yeah.
Things like that. And so just basic stuff like that. The chin could come out a bit more, he said, because he has that little thing where you chin down and out.
Yeah.
Like
Did you do that when you were doing this, or did you?
I did. I do tell them to do that, but sometimes I guess it's just the way. Maybe his chin could have came down more. I don't know. One thing I'm getting more used to, and you can see it a bit there, is I used to like my camera right on the face of the gentleman, like where his eyes. I'd have my lenses around this height when I'm shooting headshots, because I don't like the old female shooting down at them. I don't like that.
Right.
But with Peter, if you watch, he goes lower, so his lens is his camera is probably like down here, and then he's shooting up at him a bit.
Did you do that here?
I did that there, so I didn't go as far down. Like doesn't come that far, but he goes below, so that when you look at his camera, it actually does angle up a little bit.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And that's what how he shoots it, and it gives them that little sense of power too. So they're not shooting down, make them look small. You're not shooting straight on.
Yeah.
It gives them a little bit of sense of power. He's got, I don't think too bad. He's got a bit of a squinch going here, but he wasn't squinching this eye.
Yeah.
And everybody knows squinching. It's basically this lid here. Instead of squinting where the whole eye just squints, you're trying to bring this eyelid up.
The lower eyelid.
Yeah, independently on both sides.
That's tricky
and not
when
have
you
the
hear
right
about it.
It is tricky, and you have to practice it. But he looks like he's doing it a bit here, but not here. So
Cool.
sometimes it's hard to do. So just little things like that. So and it's good because it's going to refine me. So hopefully I can get better pictures as we go.
And
To me, overall, I don't think it's a bad shot. So
No, it's not. It's actually quite nice. And having you say all this stuff, which I've heard because I've watched many of his videos, but I'm listening to you again, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that. And no, I knew that about the squinch, but I forgot about the fact that it was the lower lid. So I knew about the squinch, but those little details are so important. So this.
And
is
one
really,
thing I've been trying to do a little bit more is you see like a little bit of a highlight here. It's not hot spot, like it's not burnt out. Same with on his nose and here. In the past, I used to just get rid of all those. Like try and get rid of that, make it all even, and the same on the cheek. Get rid of the highlights, make it look like they're not. But to me, I like leaving them a little bit and just take them down a bit. That way, that it looks realistic and not.
When you talk about those highlights and taking them away, are you talking about taking them away through lighting or later on in Photoshop?
In Photoshop later. If I saw it was too hot there, I would take them away sometimes. Just go in Photoshop and take them away and put the skin tone over it and that to make it look like there was no highlight there. But then this, I think, adds more realism to it. And I look at Peter Hurley's and I look at some of the other guys that are shooting. A lot of the best shots, you still see the highlight on the forehead a little bit. It's just not overpowering, of course, and it's not burnt out, but it's there because you got to make it look three-dimensional and realistic.
Yeah,
so
three-dimensional.
I've been trying to leave that in as much as I can.
That's a good point, and
just tone it down. If it's a little strong, you just tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, it's actually a good thing. Well, let's talk about that inversion thing you talked about earlier.
Conversion,
conversion insofar as the lighting is concerned. That's sort of what I've been struggling with. But let's assume for a second you're using two lights, the same power output. It doesn't really matter, but the idea behind a conversion is you're almost feathering with all your lights.
Well, you are feathering it,
including the lower lights.
Including the lower
three
ones.
lights here, and I think that's what I've been struggling with. And in my mind, I was thinking, well, maybe I had a feather. And then I was talking to you on the phone yesterday, and you just mentioned that without even me bringing it up. And I thought, that's probably it. And so explain to everybody what you mean.
Yeah, well, basically what it is, and I'm still working on it. One thing I have to do, too, when I'm doing that triangle formation that he does, is one thing he hates is a perfect triangle. So you have it like the bottom one's here, and the other two are going up like a perfect triangle. He doesn't like that. So the first one would be to the side, but it's sort of tilted a little bit. The second one, he has more almost like this. It's not a triangle like this. He's got it more up like this, and he's got it pointing down just a tad. Yeah. And then the bottom one is under here, and it's coming up, and it's a little smaller one. So I got to get a smaller softbox behind you. I just use my 10 by 30, 10 by, or 1 by 3s, I think it is. But but basically what you're doing is when you're doing that lighting, and even the one I was doing there, you have them feathered away from the person so that if I go, I'm going to try and turn sideways here. So if I'm right here and it's shooting this way, the lights are not pointing so that the light hits them in the face. The lights are actually hitting somewhere around here probably.
Just skimming in front, right?
just skimming. So they're getting, and what you do is you move them back and forth to that. He said, if you, like that's the point of conversion or point of inversion. I can't remember how he named it. I think it was point of conversion. I'm sorry about that. There we go. And, but what you do is you move them in and out. And he says, if you get them too close, you're going to see the shadows in here. And you want to get rid of that. If you back them up too far, you'll get the shadows in there also. So you got to try and find that little sweet spot in front of that little point that the lights are hitting so that there's no shadows in the eye. And then you should be right at the right spot.
Yeah.
So I've got to practice that more. The next person I have come in, I'm going to do that. Or I might even just bring somebody in, and maybe my daughter or somebody, and just say, here, sit down there for a second. I want to practice this.
That's good.
Because I'm going to get it.
That's good. That's good. And we're all learning. And, when I do fairy lighting, I've been doing fairy lighting for like 18 years, and I've photographed thousands of them. So it's like burned into my brain. When I see somebody who's trying a fairy image, I can instantly tell when their lighting's messed up. But when you talk about headshots, I've always done traditionally, like a little classic executive.
Yep. And I still do that to this day in some stuff.
And I don't even want to go there anymore now that I'm kind of going down this.
Well, I find the only time I'm doing it now is when I have a client. Like I have 2 clients here that are regulars for me. They're company, so they send their people all the time, and I want to keep it consistent with the pictures they've already got on their website from the shot in the past. So I will still go back to that lighting for those ones until they're ready for me to come and reshoot everybody. Yeah. Once they're ready to reshoot everybody, then I'll go to the newer style.
Good point. Yeah, you got a point there. It's too bad it's on the tip of your head, but you have a point there.
Yeah. Well, they do say my head's not round; it's oval. So.
No, that's true, because tomorrow I'm photographing a headshot for a local Ford dealership, and it's very structured, same backdrop, same lighting for everybody, and they have a wall. So I can't dick around with that.
No,
however, if I master this Hurley thing and I ramp up my headshot, I can go to them later, maybe in a year or so from now, and say, hey, look, what do you guys think about this sort of lighting? It's got a little more of that. What was it? People refer to it as celebrity style or Hollywood style, or I'm not sure. There's terminologies that have been used to describe that style of, and it's got a little extra pizzazz, not a little extra, a lot of extra pizzazz added to it. So, we can go back to these corporations and whatnot that we do these headshots for over and over and say, hey, how about we just rephotograph everybody from scratch?
Yeah.
Might work.
I'm going to try that myself with one of the current ones and say, listen, I'll give you a deal and we'll reshoot everybody and let me do this style. And once I master it, like you said, I'm not going to do it until I've totally mastered Now, that's the other thing too, is I usually now what I find is the same that Key does is I like to, if I can, do the triangle formation when I'm doing the females. But when I'm doing males, I'm trying to do more like the one I just showed you where it's more parallel or parallel with a fill type thing because of that. But I find like I had a realtor group in here about a couple weeks ago where it was one of my good clients. She's a realtor of mine. I've done all her headshots. She's now got a team with her. So there's a gentleman that's working on her team and 2 other ladies. If I'm going to set it up for the ladies to shoot that, I'm not going to change it when he comes in to the picture because he's part of their team. So you want it to stay consistent. So I'll keep that triangle formation for him too.
Yeah. For consistency.
For consistency, yeah.
Yeah.
If I want, I can share this with you too to help people understand a little bit. If people don't know Peter Hurley, but I can bring this in for you. Where is it? I just opened it up, and I think it's under one of these. Is it this one? There we go.
Boom.
So that's her standing at Peter Hurley's camera and what the model would see when they're standing behind his setup. So if you could see, these are not hitting the model because the models like this, these are feathering and they're all pointing to a little point in here somewhere. And then the model's going to be standing in front or below. You can see him pointing there. I did the screenshots and there's from the other side.
So he's using LED lights. You don't have to use LED lights. You use strobes, right?
I use strobes. This is his own setup that he created with Westcott. It's called the Westcott Flex Kit. And they're actually LEDs.
Mucho dinero.
I think to buy that kit where you get the 3 lights like that with the all the attachments and everything like that, I think it was like $3,000 or 3,600 American, something like that.
I just use my little narrow strip lights. I have 2 of them,
Yep.
and
I do too.
I don't have 3 of them, so for the bottom one, I used a full size softbox.
Well, I'm going to get a smaller softbox because what he does is, if you look, these he calls them his 1x3s,
Oh,
and this is a 1x2. He
Okay.
has it smaller so that you can fit them in there.
yeah.
And because I have the 1x3, so it'd be more out like this. But yeah, you can see these are converging probably around here. Here's her nose here. They're probably converging somewhere in here.
Yeah.
And then she's just like right in behind it. And I don't know if it'll let me. No, it won't let me zoom in. So
Cool. Yeah. It's interesting. This whole thing is interesting, and I'm still learning the posing too. That whole chin out thing with the squinch. I'm not quite there yet.
and if you notice her arms there too, this is
Yeah.
what he calls holding the sub.
Yeah, it strengthens the arms.
Yeah. Well, it's not just strengthening; it actually thins them out.
Yeah.
Because what
Wow.
actually happens is there's Warren. I'll bring Warren in a second here. But what happens is if you've got them with their arms together like this, you're seeing the thickest part of their arm. But if
Right.
they hold their arms out like they're holding a 6-foot sub, it actually thins out the arm. And then you're cutting them like this anyway, so it gives them a thinner part of the arm. So
That's a cool technique.
yeah,
There's Warren.
there's the man.
Going?
How's it going, Warren?
Good, you?
Good. You're in the car.
Yeah, just on a mission. I got 1,000 things to do.
Well, thanks for joining us. We'll just take 10 minutes of your time
Okay.
because we know you're busy and appreciate you showing up. So I sort of mentioned earlier that we weren't 100% sure if you're going to show up, but gave
it's
people
been a gong show all day.
no doubt. Well, all day, all week, all month, all season.
Oh, yes.
So
Oh, yes.
I gave everybody a synopsis as to what's going on with you, and that you're leaving
Yeah.
North Battleford, and you're
Put my phone here.
you're heading into a whole new adventure and phase in life.
Yeah. Sorry.
All because of COVID.
He's going to be moving just outside of where I first met Warren back in like 2005 or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I was living in Edmonton at the time, and I
Word.
sold Warren his very first camera.
Unbelievable.
Yep, McBain camera, and I sold him. I think it was a 1D Mark II or something like that. I can't remember what it was. It was a Canon 1D or something like that.
It was a 20D.
Oh, was it a 20D? Okay, I have one of those around here somewhere.
Yeah, it was a 20. It was a second generation. I think
Yep.
the 10D was the first one, then the 20 was the second, and then
Yeah, James had a 10D, and then I went and got the 20D myself.
Actually, the DX30 was the first generation.
Was it
Yeah,
before my
But-
time?
But yeah, it's before, and it came out in 2001, and it was the first affordable DSLR, 3.2 megapixel.
yeah, D30.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I bought one and I shot everything on it, and you had to be careful with it, but when you got a good exposure, I was able to produce 36-inch prints, no problem, and it
Yeah, you
blew
couldn't
every-
underexpose on them. If
No, you
underexposed,
couldn't
they
mess
were-
around. So,
Yeah. No,
but-
exactly.
and then I
Nowadays,
dropped.
these cameras nowadays, you can underexpose them drastically, and they're not noisy.
It's amazing how technology is.
Yes,
progressed.
it is. Yeah, it is.
But
absolutely.
that was all new back then. Everybody was shooting film, and
yeah, it was.
so. But anyways, so tell us how you're feeling. How optimistic are you? What's going on? And give us a quick synopsis overall about your general sense of things, both you and Paula. And are you going to keep shooting when you're out there? And
It's one of those things when I made the decision to kind of hang it up, I was done. You know when you get really jaded and you're just kind of like finished with the world kind of thing. That was
Right.
like I'm done with it. And then within probably a week, I started getting a bit of seller's remorse. And,
Oh, you
all
did,
of
eh?
us- Yeah, a little bit. And then it was to the point where
that's
I would be
normal.
out doing shoots, and the one mom, I'm out doing a trash address with a grad, and the mom's taking pictures of me and shooting video behind the scenes. She comes up and she shows me, and she goes, "Warren, you can't quit this. You can't quit this." and I'm like, I know, but I just said I'm committed to moving forward on the next chapter of my life.
Plus,
And honestly, since then, it's been pretty relentless. We're shooting so much now; it's like over the top. Like,
really,
holy shit, shooting lots. And I mean, but that's good. I've already turned down a few shoots in Edmonton. Some people I've never met, they hear we're moving to Edmonton, and they're contacting us asking if we can do family photos in October. And I literally turned down a couple. So,
Yeah.
but I am going to put on a workshop in October. I got to finally pull the trigger on it.
Yeah.
And I do love to teach. Anybody who knows me knows, honestly, I still have a passion to do that. So I might get more into the educating end of it a little more and just shoot what I want to shoot. The whole thing is I want to shoot what I want to shoot. I don't want to be a slave to it, because I ended up becoming a slave to just paying the bills.
Yeah.
You know? And we do, as a business owner, you have to. It's like when some things are slower, you're like, well, I got to take this on. Yeah, it's maybe not, prime what I want to shoot, but in the next breath, I got to pay bills, right? And I'm a business owner, so I'm going to shoot some of all the T&I stuff and all that kind of stuff. And I don't want to shoot that anymore.
No.
I want to shoot stuff that stimulates my passion and my creativity. So that being said, I'm under rules from Paula. I'm allowed to shoot one a week.
Till when?
So yeah, exactly. So it's so I've already got grads. We've got grads that we photographed over the years, and the moms are contacting me and saying, well, what about Johnny or Sally? They are graduating next year, and will you be able to do those? And all I do is I just give a little wink and say, call me. so on the side, I'm still going to be shooting, and but again, I'm going to be doing the stuff I want to shoot, plain and simple, and do a little more educating.
You're heading into a new adventure, new business, obviously, because you've got to earn a living, and we have to survive. So
100%.
And an opportunity was presented to you, a good friend of yours, I suppose, and
you bet.
A completely different field. So
yes, I'm actually in the truck he gave me.
Oh, nice.
So that was all right. He says, get your ass up here. I got a truck that's been sitting in storage for a year and a half, and if you want, he says, it's yours. I'll put a plate on it. And so I rode my Harley up to Edmonton, 5 hours, and to Sherwood Park, actually, and he had the truck all ready for me. And so
what kind of truck is it?
It's a Nissan Titan.
Nice.
Beast. We have a Nissan Rogue. I like my Nissan.
Oh, nothing wrong with this. I've always been a Chevy, like more North American truck guy, but this thing's like 400 horse, goes like shit, pukes fuel through the cylinders, but all the big ones do. It's just what it is, right? But it's nice truck, yeah.
So give us an overview timeline. When are you moving, and when are you starting this new adventure?
Paula is already there right now. She started her first day at her job yesterday. We're supposed to be out by the end of the month of my current place. We went up last week, took a load of stuff up, get the keys for it, walk in the house, it's trashed.
Yeah.
Holes in the carpet, holes in the walls, just total shit. So Paula's almost in tears trying to decide what we're going to do. Do we go to somebody else? They promise they're going to fix new carpets, because it's only like a 6-year-old house.
Right.
So they promise they're going to redo all this stuff. Well, I get a message last night from Paula, because she's at work. She can't respond to anything. And just a screenshot of the text saying, Paula, when you're done work, can you give us a call or text? We've got an issue. And that is from the landlord's parents that are there kind of taking care of this place.
Right.
So it's like, so we don't know. So we're still kind of torn. So we're going to go look at some other places.
Okay.
I'm going to head up in the morning, actually, and we're going to look. So
just another glitch in the matrix. That's crazy.
It's part of life. If you can't deal with glitches, deal with glitches in your life, realistically, that's what life is about.
Yep.
It's never smooth sailing. You just got to learn to be able to deal with all the glitches and all the bullshit that gets thrown your way, right? That's just how
That's what makes you such a good photographer, because I've always said what made me a better photographer was being a wedding photographer when I used to shoot weddings, because you're thinking on your toes all the time, because no matter how much you plan for that day, it's always something's gonna come at you at a wedding, and you got to be able to think on your toes, and you can relate that right to life's challenges itself.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing. I think that's why I enjoy location shooting so much. I go in the studio, that's fun, but I enjoy going to different places. I want to go to a different place and just take a quick scope around and go, oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah. And that's one thing I noticed even doing a lot of the workshops I've done. We did one I'll never forget. It was in Manitoba for the PPOC, out there, and it was in was it Winnipeg? Yeah. And we went down to around the college. We were going to photograph this model, and I'm going, oh, look at the grates, and I'm shooting there, and it was kind of funny because I think it was Ken Fraser, one of those guys, was there. He goes, I've shot down here 100 times.
Right.
And never once have I thought to look at that as a cool place to shoot. Just to show you a different perspective, right?
Yeah.
So, that what's exciting to me is seeing all the different places I get to create something around and use it. From leading lines to colors to texture to all that kind of stuff. And that all goes hand in hand to, being a portrait photographer, especially a location one.
Yeah,
Because
especially.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a
So
lot
that's
of
what I
fun.
miss. I do miss that part, the teaching part. So I think I'm going to get back a little more into that. And if all that fails, I think I'm going to go be a flight attendant for WestJet.
I want to see you in that little outfit with the nice little hat on.
Don't discount that.
If you do that, you're coming here and I'm doing a Mike Long type pinup with you in that outfit.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna be. Trust me, it's on my table. They're looking for him right now. Paul is like,
really?
Awesome flight attendant, because I'm an entertainer anyway, right? So how cool would that be?
Yeah.
But
Maggie says hello, beautiful people. So Maggie's
Maggie.
listening to us.
Hey, how's it going, Maggie?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
So,
who knows? I feel like a kid who's graduated high school and I got a gap year, and I'm trying to figure out what the frick I want to do. I literally, as much as I got a plan and all that, I do, but I don't. It's like I still, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, the world is at my fingertips now. It's like I have options, where I was so buried in what I was doing for so long, I didn't feel like there was an option. Now, all of a sudden, the weight's off because I've made the decision that I'm going to move forward with another chapter. Photography still being a part of it, in some aspect, but I'm looking around going, oh, I have options. Yeah. And I'm not too old to do any of that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I don't know. I honestly don't know. You guys will be, you'll see on my Facebook and all that stuff, and I'm going to get my YouTube channel rolling again hard. It started out really good. I just didn't have time because of COVID and the stress and everything. But I'm going to have it hammering away here right away again. Lots of videos, and people can follow where I decide I'm going and what I'm doing. Yeah, so that's.
So I have a question. Are you taking the hot tub with you? Because how's Colleen gonna come and I come and visit you and not do hot tubs or what is it?
Tales from the Tub.
Tales from the Tub with you guys.
Reality is, it's getting loaded up this afternoon, and a friend of mine bought it from me. So
you have to buy a new one.
It's gone. Yeah, I won't.
You'll just have to buy a new one.
Rental. That's my problem anymore. It's like I won't put one in a rental, so we might not have a hot tub. We joked about doing it in a bathtub, but I'm not sure anybody wants to watch Paul and I crammed in a bathtub.
Especially when I come visit and have me crammed in there with you.
Yeah. So
that's
we'll
exciting.
So that's kind of where we're at with it all anyway. And I don't really know. It's liberating, scary as heck, but pretty, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. I have enough work now though to wrap up the end of the year. I'm swamped with more
photography.
Yeah, like ridiculous amounts of work. I'll be glued to computers for 2 months. That's just what it is. So it'll be nice though, knowing I don't have a lot of shoots, so I can really focus now on the processing. I made that video the other day just explaining kind of my predicament. I'm shooting a lot, and of course everybody wants their stuff, and they're all nervous that I'm leaving and not going to get their stuff. Well, everybody's going to get their stuff, but I don't want to rush. I don't want to shoot I don't want to shoot and process and try to move all at the same time. I don't think it's I'm capable of doing the best work I can do. So I'm focusing on the shooting and the moving. When I get there, then I'll focus on the processing.
So you do it right.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Hands down. I've already found myself cutting corners on stuff, and I don't like it.
You don't like that
at all. No. So that's why I just got to back off on that. I'm barely even going to look at my computer other than to back stuff up. And a couple of people need a few things here and there, but for the most part, that's just kind of what it is. I'm going to focus on what I'm doing, get through this year, and then we'll see what happens.
I like your attitude overall. It's really exciting, especially when you use the comparison of you feel like you just graduated. So
that's what I feel like.
I
totally.
I mean, you're in your 50s now, right?
52, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like another phase of life, and it's a pretty drastic phase.
Oh yes.
And I'm sure it's going to photography is always going to be a part of your life, no matter what.
It will, for sure. We already got our gym picked out. Another thing, anybody knows me knows fitness is really important to me.
Yeah.
And starting to do well with that even. I'm getting a lot of people asking, to help train them, all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, I could do a bit of that as well. But I've already got the gym picked out, already lining up some shoots. That's the kind of stuff I want to shoot, a little more fitness, kind of fun. Yeah. Things that I'm passionate about. So if I'm going to turn the camera on something, it's going to be something that I'm passionate about.
I'm
Good for
curious
you.
about this WestJet thing, though.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, hear me out, because
Oh no, here we go.
it sounds like the opportunity. The reason you moved, it sounds like the opportunity you have is
Yep.
pretty solid, and
Oh, yeah.
so there's no real chance you're gonna look at alternatives. I mean, maybe as a backup to the backup to the backup or something, but it sounds like a
don't
pretty
know.
solid opportunity. I mean,
I
you got the
don't
truck,
know.
you got the buddy, and you got the. It's already a business that's currently going
Yeah.
full guns,
Yeah.
and it is an excellent industry for growth, and
Yes.
not going to go away in a long time.
No,
So
no, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I literally,
you're just talking.
I'm floating around in space right now, trying to just, yeah. When I get up there and get settled, then
Yeah.
I'll really look at it all. Right now,
Mhm.
just so my brain is spinning circles, honestly, about everything that's going on. So
Yeah,
once
well.
that all slows down a little bit, then I can really focus on,
Yeah.
next year and what the future brings.
Mhm.
I don't know if I mentioned it to you as well. One of my best friends since we were kids owns Central Alberta Air Ambulance. I've gone up twice now with him since I moved to the Battlefords. He's flown and picked me up. I've documented, did all the staff photos,
Right.
flown around all over with all the planes on all the ambulance calls all over Alberta.
No kidding.
Yeah, I've done that twice now. Did formation photos. We've got to go up in a Twin Otter and follow
Nice.
the Air Ambulance King Air 200 over the lakes north of Lac La Biche,
Yeah.
and did all that kind of stuff. Both times I came back from those 4-day adventures, I said to Paula, another place, another time, in another life, I would be an air paramedic. I absolutely freaking loved it. That is something that just blew me
No
away.
kidding.
Blew me away how much I was just, that's all I could talk about and think about for like a year after each time.
Wow.
And
Unbelievable.
yeah, so out of curiosity, and I didn't really even think about it until we were going to see our place in Leduc. And of course, the Edmonton International is right across the highway from where we live now.
Mm-hmm.
And the big Stars hangar at the end of the runway. Well, the other half of the Stars hangar is my buddy's hangar for
No
Central
kidding.
Alberta Ambulance. And I spent lots of time in there with them over those two courses of flying all over.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what, I'm going to call him. So I called Trevor. That's my buddy's name. And I a couple weeks ago, and I said, Trevor, I said, this is kind of what I'm doing. He goes, yeah, I see you're hanging it up and you're moving into our neck of the woods. And I said, yeah. I said, am I too old to be an air paramedic? Is that something that's, he goes, never, man. Never. So we spent about 2 hours discussing what is involved in becoming, your first stage paramedic, your first responder, and then your actual paramedic, which they used to call it an EMT. Now it's a first stage of paramedic or whatever. They've eliminated the EMT thing, right? But EMT I can do online in 9 months and then 3 months of practicum. And then you ride, and then it's 3 years to be a paramedic. And so
on the job training, you mean 3 years?
3 years is in school.
Okay.
That's in school training.
Never say never.
Classes. Yeah, you're one of the next closest things to like a doctor, like a nurse, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like a hardcore.
You know David Lee Roth in his late 40s went back to school and became a paramedic in New York or LA.
Yeah,
did that for years.
Yeah.
Just because he wanted to.
Yeah, and that's why. So my buddy told me, he says, if you get it, I'll put you in a plane.
Nice.
So I'm sitting there thinking I'm right across, and that's something. Like I say, both times I came back, you can ask Paula. That's all I could think about. I still think about those calls and how incredibly inspiring it was, and just watching what they did in the whole, because I was literally at the feet of these patients in a little jump seat in the back of the King Air 200s while this was all going down, where you're bouncing in the planes, through the fires at a Cold Lake. We picked up a guy there. We picked up a guy who'd been shot 26 times in Fort McMurray, and had to fly him into Edmonton. And it was there's just something incredible about it.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So who knows? Again, I literally feel like a high school kid. Yeah,
You're
I've got
a
the
beast.
opportunity, and that's great. And I'm going to go with that. But maybe I work on my EMT on the side, right?
That's pretty cool.
Stage. Yeah. So,
I like your attitude, Warren. So, we'll let you get back to working and getting
I
things
better run
going.
in here.
So
we'll keep in touch for sure, and I know he's going to land on his feet. Warren's just that personality. You can't keep him down. He'll land on his feet for sure.
Yeah,
we'll see what goes. Follow me along on Facebook and my YouTube. I'm get it fired up again. So
for sure. Thanks for joining us, Warren.
Absolutely, you guys have fun. We'll talk.
Awesome. Be safe.
Yeah, you too. Okay, bye.
John,
there you go.
your mic's really loud. I forgot to mention that earlier.
You should have told me a long time ago.
I
Maybe
forgot.
people just want to hear me. That's all. I don't know why it keeps getting louder every week. I don't change the settings.
Something. There we go. It's better. So
That's a little better? Okay.
well, that's
away a bit
exciting
too.
with Warren. And yeah, I think he's going to stay into photography in some way, shape, or form. And
I agree.
you know,
He's
he
too
had
good at it not to.
he was such a success. He had, like, for those who don't know his background, he divorced, had 2 kids, and him and his wife were photographers, and he ran a business. And the divorce agreement was, she got the studio, she got the clientele and the name, and he could not operate within, I forget, 200-300 miles.
Yeah.
So he just
I felt
ran-
it funny how she got the name, though, when it's his last name. I mean, it was her married name, yeah, but
She got it. He agreed
Yep.
to it. I don't think he's the kind of guy that hangs on to stuff like
Nope.
that. So he just picked the next nearest town, had 0 history, and he moved there so he could be as close as possible to his daughters, set up shop, and boom.
yeah,
So good attitude. So we can all learn from guys like
no,
guys
definitely.
like Warren. So
He's helped me get my senior photography going here, where now I've actually got my pricing structure of what I want to charge and what I'm doing. He didn't tell me what to charge. He just sort of gave me hints of what he was doing and how he was doing things, and then I worked
Right.
it with mine and kind of came up with a plan, and now it's on my website. So
anybody who has questions for Warren, he's so open, and you know, I've had him speak at multiple
Yeah.
infernos, Nashville and Toronto, and he's a go-getter. So
maybe you and I'll have to bring back the NoBS Photo Success Infernos, and we'll get him back. He wants to teach. He said he'll still do that.
Warren Noyce, the air paramedic photographer extraordinaire. Well, hopefully, if things come back somewhat normal-ish.
Yeah.
But I have a bunch of images regarding my last ferry day. I'm not going to show them. I want to talk a little bit more about the headshots and maybe show you my last headshot and explain what I'm
for it.
doing and what my struggles were, and we could talk about that some more before we wind her down.
Definitely. Let's
I
go
will-
for it.
We'll save my ferry shots for another time. I
Maggie
did-
says we're so funny.
Oh, good. We'll try and ramp it up even more. But I captured progress shots of me setting up when I was in London at the dance studio, and I talked with the dance school owner. She's a real go-getter. Maggie, we got to get you on one of these calls. I mean, we should get her back on here. I'd love to know what she's up to
Yeah.
and everything. She's like the female version of Warren times 10.
Exactly.
I'm going to say times 10 because she's so radiant and beautiful, and her enthusiasm is infectious.
I'm so anxious to try her idea that she does with her headshots and stuff, where she actually sits there and edits them right in front of the client. So when they leave, they
Yeah.
walk away with her. But I just don't know if it'll go here. I know I shouldn't have that mentality, but
No,
I know
well,
you just do it. But at the same time, I know the clientele that I've been shooting lately, and a lot of them don't even want to
Yeah.
stick around to look at their shots. They just want to
Yeah.
leave. So it's hard. I'm trying to see if I can bring that into it. But I learned that from her.
yeah, well, she, I think of that too, and I think of Maggie in her enthusiasm is literally at the very apex of anything I've ever witnessed before, and people I think get dragged into it, and they just, yep, that's what we're doing. So she's got that. That idea of retouching, it doesn't capture me. I get it though, what she's doing. What I kind of dig is what Peter Hurley does, in where he shoots tethered, does a few shots, then he sits down and talks to the client. I don't know if he still does that, but I was watching one of his videos last week, and you know, that idea is kind of cool. And I say that because I put that in context of when you have the discussion with a client. You know, when I first show up, I've been thinking about, okay, what can I do that's sort of like going to be aligned with where I want to take my headshots? And I thought, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have just have them sit down in the front section before we go to the camera section, and we're going to have a discussion. I'm going to talk to them, and I'm going to start creating a rapport and talk about some of the things I want to achieve and get a sense of how nervous they are. Everybody seems to be so freaking nervous. But that'll help, I believe. And maybe mention this thing about good posture, chin out, squinch, and explain all that stuff during that discussion. I don't know. What do you think, John? Does that make sense to you?
I think it makes a lot of sense. And I've actually started incorporating some of that picture I showed you at the beginning of the program here.
Right.
When that gentleman came in, we shot it. He picked his 3 images right there on the spot, right after the shoot.
Right.
Because I put that actually on my website. Right after your shoot, we'll go through your images together and we'll pick out your favorites, and then it says how much it is per image to touch up. And so I'm trying to incorporate. It hasn't worked for everybody so far. Some people want to they want their boss or their counterpart or their spouse to look at the pictures too. Peter Hurley doesn't want them to do it. He goes, no, because they don't know you. They're going to try and encourage you to do this one instead of that one, and maybe you have your heart set on this one. So he does that. So I'm trying to get more where when it's done, we go through them right there on the spot. We pick out the ones they want, and then when they leave, I know which ones I'm working on, and they paid for it right up front.
I'm 50-50 on that one. The reason I like the idea of what Peter Hurley's doing with the tethered let's go look.
Yeah, and that's what I'm doing.
I don't want to do it to pick the image. I just want he does it, and then he goes back in the camera room. Yeah, because he brings them he'll do some just regular stuff, and he'll go to the computer and say, look at what we're doing. Look what we're doing wrong, and this is what we don't want to do. And he'll sort of reframe it in their minds. And then the whole goal of doing that isn't to pick an image. The whole goal is to educate them and to help that rapport and that connection. It's almost like you're a movie director, so that when you go back into the camera room, you can achieve even higher results, better results. That whole idea, I'm really smitten by all of that. So that's where I want to go. So.
And that's what I've been doing. Like, I know when I did the Regional Hospital Foundation's pictures here, we had the main guy with his 3 employees. I would shoot. I in the studio when I'm doing headshots. The only thing I don't shoot tethered is when I'm doing like a family portrait, things like that. But when it comes to my headshots and business portraits, I'm always shooting tethered to my laptop. I think I showed you the station that I do and how I do it, and then I just do it to Lightroom, and then I say, come here, take a look at this, and we'll go and look and say, see how we're doing this and that. And they're like, yeah. And I say, well, do you want to try the other side? Okay, let's go back in there and we'll try the other side. And then they go back in front of the lights again, and we do it again, or we change it. I'm always constantly showing them, or I'll take the picture, and then while they're in the spot so they don't move, I'll take my laptop, because it's now on a little stand here, and I just swivel the stand around. So I see, look at this is what we're getting. She's like, oh, wow, that looks amazing. Yeah, okay, let's try this. And then we go and try. So I'm constantly showing them. But I like the idea of them picking before they leave, because then I know there's no homework. Then I don't have to go make a gallery, send it to them, wait for them to get back to me of what they want. And that sometimes that comes the same day. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3, sometimes a week or 2. Yeah. So this way they could pick it and they leave. I go touch them up, and within a day or 2, they've got their images sent to them.
So can you see my screen?
Not yet, but I'll bring it in. I can now.
Now, what do you see?
I see a gentleman there. You've got a nice gray backdrop, gradated to black in the background there, and he looks pretty powerful. Businessman, he looks like.
I have two screens open. I don't know which one it is.
It's a blonde guy. He's kind of like a blonde with a goatee.
Yeah, and I got 2 of the same guy here. Is this waist up?
His hands are on the hips. Yeah, waist up, hands on the hips.
That's not the image I see. Okay, I have to. I wonder. Like, I'm switching, and I don't know. Is it showing at your end?
It's showing...
same image,
Here, I'll show you. I can show you. Can you see that?
Yeah, I have to stop sharing.
Yeah,
this is what I don't like. This is what I don't like about Zoom. Is I can't verify what you see, and that's one of my major beefs.
Well, I know a lot of people actually are using separate monitors. I might try and do that myself one day, where they'll have this on there and then have a separate monitor. So, just waiting for it to come in.
Let me try this. Okay.
Maggie said that she told us how she loves us, and why don't we be the model for her next time?
I'm camera shy.
She wants to share our show option, but there's no option for it. I think it's because only people in the NoBS Photo Success group can see this video until Rob puts it on your YouTube.
They have to join the group, but it's free and anybody can join.
Exactly. Now I see the one from like chest up.
Yeah. All right. So this guy came in. I photographed his wedding in 1995, and I kind of don't remember him. But he's an insurance salesman, and doesn't look like an insurance salesman. We had a really, really good conversation. His freaking energy is amazing, and he decided to let his hair grow. And I'm like, I'm all for it. I love. If I could grow my hair like that, I would. But I have the bald spot. Anyways, so I used 2 lighting for this guy. Okay. This is the triangular light. What do you call it again? Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, that's what he calls it, triangular.
I call it boom, boom,
Parallel
boom.
is like this.
So I have 2 strip lights, one on one side, one on the other side, and then I have a full-size regular rectangular softbox with the eggshell grids on it on the bottom.
Okay.
Here's my problem. My light meter has been broken for 5 weeks now. I have not used the light meter, and I'm totally 100% confident with not using a light meter. I'm actually really liking it. Yeah. So I set up the lights, I adjust the power the way I think are going to work, and I do a test. But this shoot here, I was conscious of the fact that I'm going to feather. So I turned the lights in, and I tried the feathering. And now the fact that the bottom light, the one shooting up, has got those louvers, the grids on it, helps feather automatically.
Yep.
So, but anyways, I was really happy with this look. So I did. Remember we were just talking about, do one or the other. I did both for this guy because I'm still trying to figure out where I want to go overall with my executive headshot lighting. So I was really happy with this look. And I got a whole series of pictures with him. I'm still struggling with the squinch, John. I'm not really 100% there yet.
It's difficult. I'm not there completely yet either. I think I kind of do it, but...
The chin out thing, he's doing that here, but it looks natural.
Yep.
So let me show you the other lighting I did.
I would have brought his chin even down further too, because sometimes when they bring it out, it looks, and then if they come down, it evens it out a bit.
Let me show you the other one.
Okay.
And actually, you guys saw it already.
Maggie thought it was an amazing portrait.
Thanks, Maggie. When we were having a conversation, he was doing this. I said, "That's a pose we're going to do. We're going to get those arms in your pocket just like that." So, and this one's been retouched and worked on a little bit. I don't know if it looks okay at your end, but
I don't know. I didn't bring it in yet. My bad. I was on full screen on my thing here, and I didn't see that it came in. My bad. There, it's in there now.
So that's the other lighting. So all I did was I took the softbox, which was on the bottom, and I brought it up as my main, and I have a kicker in behind him. I like using the background light on all my shots. So the gradient to me is important. I don't like the solid gray or dark gray or whatever in the background. So I consistently use a background light for that reason.
Yeah. I don't use a lot of background light when I'm doing my headshots. I do actually, I should say that. When I do the white background, I have one on the background to make it pure white, of course. But when I want to make it gray, like that one I showed you earlier, the shot I did, I just turned my backlight off, and that made that white wall of mine go gray.
Yeah.
Because the problem, or what I do is, you saw my studio when I have that cyc wall where it comes out and ends, the white part ends and the floor starts. It's probably a good 10 to 12 feet from the back wall. And that's where I have my client standing right at the end of my backdrop, so that I'm lighting the background. But when I turn that off, it's that, what's that? The rule of, or the law of...
the inverse law of squared inversion.
The squares, the square law.
9-inch spigot transfuger.
But you got to remember, the lights that I'm hitting the person with, by the time that light reaches the whole back wall, which is 10, 12 feet away, it's probably diminished by like 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
So it's probably like 3 or 4 times darker than what the... So that's why it goes gray. It goes a nice solid gray. It's really nice. I don't even have to put a gray backdrop up.
Yeah, I get it. It sounds complicated to me. I'd just rather throw up a background light. Look at this shot. It was just a random shot. And he picked
That's
it.
fun.
He picked it.
Fun shot. Yeah.
It's one of his... and this is full frame.
Okay.
So...
did you crop it, or did you leave it like that? There you go. That's how you cropped it. Okay.
Cropped.
Yeah.
And
I like it, though. It's a fun shot, and that shows character. It shows personality.
Yeah.
Because I think in a lot of his shots, he looks very serious. That one there is nice. It's got a bit of a grin. But the other first two, they were great shots, but he looked very serious. So I would have thought he was like a lawyer or something like that. Whereas these shots show a little personality. He's like, okay, he's not stuck up. He's actually fun. He can joke around. And then that one's a nice one.
He picked the same lighting on... He bought 3 files. He picked the same lighting. He didn't go with the 3-way lights that I originally...
Well, the 3-way lights, the only thing I noticed, and it might have been just me, and is with you having the grid in the bottom light coming up, it caused like the lighting was basically from about here up, so anything below that was starting to go dark. It's almost like a natural vignette on the person. I don't know if you wanted that or...
Oh, that's
on that one
this is straight off camera, but I did process it and I added a vignette.
Yeah, so you don't mind that the tie and that goes down into a vignette.
No, I can lighten that later. This is just a proof. When I did the proofs, I run them through Raw Editor and I add a.
No, definitely.
Maybe I shouldn't, is what you're saying. So you're saying
No,
it's
no,
too
I
dark
didn't.
in the
I don't
bottom.
mind it. No, I don't like for my own personal taste, but that doesn't mean it's wrong either because it does bring his face to the center, right?
So what I'm now trying to figure out is, did he not choose this one because of the lighting, or just because we had different lighting on the other one?
I don't know.
So interesting character, and I'm gonna,
Great
I
shots
wouldn't.
though.
Yeah, well, thanks. I kind of was sort of happy with it.
I'd be happy with those, and I'm sure. And that's the thing too. Even though we're experimenting with Peter's stuff, even though we might not get exactly like he is, like he says, yeah, until you learn his stuff, like he can't make you like an ambassador on his thing or whatever. But as long as you're making sellable images that the clients are liking and they're taking, that's what matters in my book. I mean, as long as the client's happy, I'm happy.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and that's a good philosophy, but I do like the idea of no, I'm going to keep progressing and learning. I think
for
it's
sure.
important. I think it's important. You're never too old to start and keep learning something new. I mean, look at Warren. He might be an air paramedic. 3 years of schooling and whatnot, but it's I'm again totally smitten by this the way it's tweaked and modified insofar as the headshots are concerned. And if we keep on this track, if I keep doing this and I sort of to some degree master it, and like Peter says, don't do it exactly like him, come up with your own. And if it works, that's going to be pretty hard for anyone else in my area to duplicate, replicate, and swipe. Because it's not a technical thing. What we're talking about, well, it is technical, but it's not really. This is largely, I don't know.
No, I agree with
it's
you
operational.
completely.
It's that whatever it is that you do when you're working with clients, It's like Steven Spielberg. He directs and he has this rapport with the actors and the camera guy, and he has this vision, and that's where we're going to go with it. So what's this image all about?
This is one that Peel Original Hospital Foundation where I did the triangular formation.
Right.
The one thing I have to learn is to get the lights closer. Like here, these are the final images, so they're being cloned out, of course.
Right.
Normally you would see my lights in there, but he actually gets them really in tight. So I got to get them a little bit tighter. But I mean, this was nice. I was really happy with this one.
Well, if you're not in tight, couldn't you just crop in later? I mean, there's enough.
Oh yeah, no, it's not that. It's just the way the catch lights go in the eyes and stuff to get them closer together. In the
You
eyes
want the lights in closer.
Yes, the lights themselves. I'm not talking about. Yeah, I zoom in right away. I'm not worried about that. It's more of the eyes and the lighting itself. This was one of his employees that works with him, so you can kind of see the triangle in their eyes there.
Yeah.
But I need to get them closer together, I think.
Okay.
There was this girl here, and then this girl here. So those were the four, and then they did some group shots. So we did some together. This is where I changed my lighting. Of course, I wasn't doing the triangle formation for this.
Yeah.
So this is just basically my big octabox, I think, and then lighting the background.
Can you go back to the shot of him? Do you mind?
Sure, yeah.
Well, actually, you got him and the other two with glasses. The glasses don't really reflect lighting. I don't know if you could have
well,
done
actually,
this.
there was glare in them. I had to take them out.
Was it bad?
On the two girls, yes. On him, no.
Okay.
I wonder if I have the. I don't think I have it here though. I'll have to show you maybe next time, or I'll send them to you the before and after. And actually, I didn't. I was trying, and I was having so much issues with it. I actually sent it away and had it done. I got it back 24 hours later, and it cost me like, I think $2.50 an image to get.
Where
it
do you
done.
send yours? Rebuku?
It's a company called retouchup.com.
Right. Okay.
I sent it to them, and I just said the glare in the glasses, please. And then they came back with the glare gone.
Nice.
You would never even know.
$2.50 an image.
$2.50 an image.
I hate excessive glare on glasses. I don't like retouching it, so I'm going to remember
With this one.
one.
It was different because right in here and right in here, it wasn't just glare, but it was purple. It was like a purplish glare, so they had
She's
to take
an
that
alien.
out. Whereas this one, it had it right in the bottom here from my bottom strip, and there was, I
Right.
think, like here and here, and it was going right through the eyeball, and that's where I have issues with it. I'm not a Photoshop guy per se, like a guru, so I'm not. She didn't have them, so I didn't have to worry about it. And he only had, I think, a little bit right here, so I took it out myself. so I did
Okay.
this one myself.
You do some retouching, but Colleen is mostly in charge of like 90%
She used to
of your
be. She does it every now and then if I need it now. But for the
okay.
last 6 to 8 months, I've been doing all the retouching.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did she?
She's been more out. Well, she's been helping my daughter with her job. They do Amazon deliveries now, so she's
Okay.
been helping with that.
Okay.
And then we haven't been busy enough for having both of us here all the time.
Okay.
So these were a couple of the shots that they took, and then they wanted to do the lumberjack look.
Yeah.
Since we are in the valley, and this is known as a lumberjack. That used to be the big trade here in Pettenbrook back in the day. Was they were lumberjacks down the Ottawa River there, and they used to have all the logs coming in and stuff. So they wanted to do the Charlie's Angels pose. They wanted to show some fun stuff. And the same with these shots here, and there's another fun one. But with these shots here, not that one as much, but this one, I think, and that one, and then these two, I had to send them away for the glare and the glasses too,
Yeah.
for the two girls. And I thought they did a great job. They made me look good.
They did. Nobody knows.
No, and that's
As long
all
as
that
it's done.
matters.
All right. I'm going back to work. I'm doing ferry orders up the wazoo, and when we finish a ferry day event, I like to get on them and get them done right away. So
Yeah.
I'm a
I
little
had one of your
obsessive
clients
that
come
way.
and pick up today already, and another one's coming around 2:30
Nice.
to pick up the stuff from here. And then I have a gentleman coming here from 2:30 from our township here, the township of Laurentian Valley. And apparently there's some grant thing that they've got going around the government for. It's called Digital Main Street. And they're helping businesses. If you get the grant, if they can help you get the grant, it's $2,500 towards the digital part of your business when it comes to like social media, websites, things like
Really?
that, getting you out to the public because of the whole COVID stuff. They're trying to get people more online doing stuff. So I'm going to try and see if they'll help me get a grant where I can get help putting an e-commerce site together for my volume stuff like the sports and the kindergarten grads, things like that, and have an e-commerce site that the client or the parents can just go click on a link and go pay for it right online.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, so if I can get that working, that'd be awesome. I'm not going to use it probably for my headshots or things like that. Although if it's set up in a way that if they want to pay me, they can either e-transfer or I can just say, or you can go to this link and pay right online, and they can do credit card net. They don't have to call me with a credit card number or anything. They could just do it right online. Make my life a lot easier.
Do you use a Square?
It's similar to Square. I have Paid. It's by Moneris. And
Yes.
so it's actually with my phone just like the Square does, but instead of having the little Square device, mine looks like a calculator basically.
Right.
It's the size of my phone, looks like a calculator, and it's a pin pad. And
I
so
remember
they
seeing
can
that.
either tap it or they can stick the chip in the bottom,
Oh.
and then they just, it's like going to a store and having that pin pad. It just walks
Yeah.
them through and they do what they got to do, and then it's just with an app on my phone. Works
Square
great.
Square is very much the same way. So
Yeah. The only thing is with Square is everything's done on your phone. The Square thing is just a tap or stick in.
Yeah.
But everything's done on your phone. That was
I know-
different when I had to do that with you guys.
I know my wife really likes it. So Mama's happy. I'm happy.
Yeah.
She just showed
John,
up. So
John Rumble's on here, and he said,
hey, Johnny.
what do you say? The blue coating on glasses caused that purple glare, which is agreed. I knew that. And the blue light. John, check out a package called Sightist. He said, I use this. It's great for volume work. So he's probably talking about for being able to pay online and stuff.
Or retouch up.
Or Retouch Up, yeah. I have Retouch Up. I also have that Rebook You or whatever.
Rebuku.
And then I use Next Gen for my sports stuff where they go and do everything for me. I just send them the pictures and they compile everything for me. So
All right. So next week we're going to talk about. I think we have a guest coming on.
yeah, I'm not
John
sure.
I think it's John Ratchford. He's either next week or the week after.
Okay.
Out of Cape Breton. He's one of my favorites.
And hopefully one day we can get Maggie on, or not Maggie, sorry, Maria on here. But I know she's getting married anytime now. I think it's this week
Yeah.
or next week or something like
She's
that. So
pretty
she's
busy.
kind of busy right now. So
Yeah, she's going to be definitely
get her.
coming back. Maybe we'll
we get Maggie back on too.
Maybe we'll get Maggie next week.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta let you go.
All right, man. Hope everybody enjoyed it today. I thought it was fun. I thought it was a good show.
Interesting to hear from Warren, and stay plugged in.
Exactly.
We can
So
all
we'll-
learn.
We'll talk to everybody later. Ciao, bella.
Thanks, guys.